Well, FNAF fans, after literally a decade of waiting, the FNAF movie has finally come out. Now, I'm just gonna say it, I've never played a FNAF game in my life. I've watched a whole bunch of videos on it, especially Security Breach, that new one that just came out. But I've never played a single one in my life. And you know what? I've never bothered to. I'm too scared, and I do not like scary games. But recently, I've been dipping my toes into the horror sort of game culture. I've been playing a lot of Phasmophobia with my brother and Potato, and I've been playing that In Silence game with some of my other friends. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch my first scary movie. And I'm going to watch the FNAF movie with my friends and my brother. And I just gotta, straight off the bat, say that I also don't really like scary films, and for like the entire first like section of this film, I was in intense fear. I was putting the hands over my eyes and covering my ears with my thumbs, like children do. Now, I don't know if this is just a thing with Blumhouse or if my theater just did it weird this time around, but the film didn't open up with any trailers of any sort. It just straight up showed off the Blumhouse logo, the Universal logo, and then the film got started. And that was pretty spooky. I was like, "Whoa, we're like actually getting into it." And I got to say the first scene of this film is so freaking scary. It shows off the security guard that is currently working at the pizzeria, and like he's blocked up all the doors with chairs. You can hear thumping on the doors, and you can just see him close up trying to open up the vents because he can see like on the screens that like the animatronics are trying to kill him, and he's like so terrified and scared. And then he goes into the vents, and then he comes out, and then he's captured, and it's just such a good scene. It's so scary. And that was like that was when I started putting my hands up above my face, and I was just so scared. And then the opening credits are really cool with all the pixel game art, and it's just so cool. And then the film starts, like the rest of the film starts. This film stars Josh Hutcherson, and he plays this guy called Mike, who has to look after his sister after his parents are dead, and he's in a custody battle with his aunt, and he can't get a job, and his life is just going downhill, and, pretty casually, his brother was abducted as a child, and now he has nightmares every night about it. So to look for a job, he goes to Shaggy Daggy Doo, William Afton, Matthew Lillard, for a job. And, William Afton, William Afton, let's be honest, that's who he is. Nobody was surprised by this. The trailers spoiled it all. But William Afton gives him a job at a pizzeria. Ooh, Freddy Fazbear's. Ooh. It's pretty scary because all the security guards are going crazy there, and it shut down in the 80s, and you just need to keep everybody out. Ooh, spooky. So now we know the basic plot of the film. Mike will go over there every night and make sure nobody gets into the pizzeria. Nobody gets into Freddy's. But 4 people get into Freddy's, and they all die. One of them dies gruesomely. Pretty much for no reason. She was kind of innocent. I don't understand why it's so weird that babysitters have to die gruesomely for some reason. Oh well. Mike's little sister Abby comes with him on the job at some point, and Mike also meets the 5 child souls who possess the animatronics. And we also meet Vanessa, who is, just a random police officer who's really invested with everything for some reason, and then you realize later she's the child of William Afton, the main villain. And I gotta say, Vanessa was probably one of the weakest parts in this movie, not because the actress didn't do a good job. I saw her Letterboxd like acting page, and I was really disappointed that she wasn't in anything else, and I really hope she gets more work. But the character of Vanessa just isn't interesting or written well. She just explains everything. She explains like all the lore just all at once in multiple moments of this film, and it happens too many times, and it's just, it's really weird, and she just, I can't think of a single character trait other than cop and daughter of William Afton. Like, I can't think of anything else. A couple more negative things about the film. I really wish it leaned harder into the horror. Like, I didn't want it to be, like, R-rated, But there's still ways you can make a PG-13 movie scary without having, like, the goriest things in the world. Like, and it was never gonna be rated R anyway, so, like, that's out the window. But, like, still, it could have leaned harder into, like, the jump scares portion, because that's what, ultimately, FNAF is about. It's about jump scares. And they just didn't have them. And, like, I was pretty, like, it was pretty tense and a little scary, for me at least, because I'm a wimp. It was a little scary up until Freddy and the gang basically became Muppets. If you didn't know, the Jim Henson Company made the animatronics. They look great, by the way. Best part about the film overall is just how great they look, like adapted from video games, and how amazing the motion capture and the puppetry work is. It's just so good. But anyway, like they basically became Muppets because Abby just becomes friends with them, and it's really weird because they just be friends for a little bit, and it does kind of have a motive later in the film where the children who are piloting these animatronics are like, well, we want Abby to be one of us, which yeah, kind of has a motive, but they also kind of just act really weird. They could have made it more like suspenseful and maybe like hinted at the fact that they were gonna do something malicious with Abby. It could have been better in that department. And then there's kind of like a couple other things, such as Freddy and Bonnie. Well, more specifically, Freddy doesn't really get a lot to do in the games. That's kind of how Freddy works anyway. He doesn't do a ton. Like he's obviously the title character of the game, and he does get moments. But like he's like the others do a lot more. But in this film, like Foxy gets way more kills, and Chica gets way more moments, especially with the cupcake. And like Freddy just doesn't seem to have anything really special that he does besides being Freddy. And even like Bonnie gets like a cool moment or two. Freddy barely gets much. So it's just really disappointing that Freddy didn't get a ton to do. Even though he's, an animatronic and whatever, I still wish he got more to do. They also kill off the aunt just really nonchalantly. She dies and they don't ever bring it up. They're just like, "Oh, she's sleeping." Like the animatronics kill her, and it's just nonchalantly, just so normal, and they don't ever talk about it ever again, even though like that probably has some repercussions in the real world, because how do you explain a dead body in your house? So yeah, it's just really weird. Also, Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy is the golden version of Freddy, but he also has like the blue eye and is really really broken down. And in the trailers, he's like everywhere, but all his moments only amount to like a minute or two of screen time, and he kills the aunt, and then he's gone forever, and we never see him again. So that was a little weird and disappointing, but we'll probably see him in sequels, which this movie, it's probably going to get successful no matter what the critics say. The fans are probably going to propel this movie to like maybe $1 billion. I don't know how far it will get, but it'll probably make a lot of money. And then we'll probably get a sequel or two. So yeah, this film is really gunning for a sequel here. Now I guess we can get into the good stuff. The good stuff is this is a great film for fans. It's basically on the same level as Mario, but it's for FNAF fans, so it's obviously darker. It just makes everybody in the FNAF community, even casual people like myself who don't really like know all the lore but know the basic stuff, like pretty satisfied, pretty happy with it. Like I walked out of the theater with a pretty big smile on my face, and I wasn't like disappointed by anything. I got what I thought I was gonna get. Like, I wasn't expecting anything. It's the same thing with the Mario movie. I wasn't expecting anything too big. It's obviously not gonna be like the magnum opus of video game movies. Like that's never gonna happen. So overall, I was pretty happy with it. There were a lot of references and Easter eggs and really cool moments, and I was like, oh yes, 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 yes. Matt Pat, freaking Matt Pat makes a cameo in this film. I'm not gonna spoil what he does, even though this is a spoiler review. I really want you to see that moment for yourself, because it is masterpiece right there. And other than the animatronics that look amazing and spectacular, the other amazing and spectacular thing was honestly Matthew Lillard playing William Afton. For the limited amount of screen time he gets, he dominates every single scene he's in. He is just the greatest thing about that scene. And when he's wearing like this spring lock outfit, like that's so cool. And it's such a cool costume. And like he's so menacing and so cool, and his final scene is so like, ooh, what's gonna happen next? And I'm actually kind of excited if a sequel is greenlit. I'm excited. I honestly am. I'm really excited. Overall, I had a great time with this movie, and I'll probably watch it again, and maybe I'll do some pauses and look through all the stuff I missed because I was covering my eyes like a little wimp. Is it the greatest thing of all time? No, not at all. But I wasn't expecting it to be. And you shouldn't let critics dictate whether a movie is the best thing or not. If you like a movie, you like a movie. And I won't judge you for that, most of the time. Except if it's Lion King 2019, then I kinda disown you from the channel, but, you know, that's here nor there. So I'm gonna give this movie a 7 out of 10, just like the Mario movie. Alright, good night. Did you know that my friend group almost got kicked out of the theater? It was really spooky. They were just talking and being really obnoxious and making like jokes along the film, which I just want to put out a quick PSA, don't talk in films, don't be obnoxious and loud. There are people trying to watch the film, like me, no matter how bad it is. Just shut up. Nope, nope, shut up. Nobody wants to hear it. Alright, goodbye.
Was that the bite of 87?